Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. I ruined my mom's life and reputation. My 40F parents, dad 63M, and mom 60F, have been married for 43 years. I have 6 siblings, 42F, 38F, 34F, 20M, 20M, 18M. I have been with my husband, 39M, since we were 15. I got pregnant at 17 and we moved in with my parents. I gave birth to my now 22-year-old daughter. We got married at 18 shortly after. My dad's father passed away shortly after our wedding and left his ranch-style house to my father. My grandparents built a house next door to my parents when they retired. My parents decided to let us live in this house and told us this would be my inheritance. My husband and I had no issues with this. We went on to have a 20M, 14F, 5F, and I'm currently 7 months pregnant with my last child, a boy, due in April. I thought I had a good marriage. We were intimate more than twice a week, we went on date nights, we bought each other gifts, we didn't fight. My entire world was shattered on New Year's Eve when I returned early from a girls' trip I had taken with some friends. I walked into my bedroom to find my mom having sex with my husband. My mother screamed at me to get out of their bedroom, which really shook me up even more. Unfortunately, my oldest daughter was also home in her bedroom across the house getting ready for a party. She ran out and witnessed my all but a bedsheet naked mother run out of our house next door to her house and slam the door. My daughter was devastated and went to my sister's house. I asked her not to say anything until I first talked to my husband. I asked him for the truth. He told me that my mom seduced him when we were 18 and living in their house. They'd been having unprotected sex at least once a month for longer than we were married. I ran the math and was horrified, because the timeline meant my twin brothers and youngest brother could be my husband's. I immediately called my dad and told him to come to my house without my mom. I made my husband confess and my dad was devastated. He and my mom were high school sweethearts too. Needless to say, we could hear my mother screaming from her house when he confronted her. I then told my older sister and she and I decided to have her throw a party for the whole extended family, and we invited my ex's family as well. At the party, I had my 22F daughter take all the kids to our basement and put on a movie, leaving only the adult children and siblings, and I told them exactly what they'd been doing. Most of the family is on my side, except my 3 youngest siblings, 38F sister, ex's entire family. They all say I'm an A for dropping this publicly. Word got out and my mom's best friend, who is in leadership at my mom's church, my childhood church, called me to verify. My mom has since been let go as the children's pastor there, and she claims I've essentially ruined her reputation and life. My dad kicked her out and she's now living with my 38F sister, and lastly, my dad insisted on a DNA test for the 3 youngest boys before he'd consider anything to do with their marriage. The twins are my husband's bio children. I've since kicked him out and he's living with his parents. My father and I are discussing me moving into his much larger house and him selling my grandfather's house and him giving me the money to buy a new house somewhere else to get rid of the memories. My husband is appalled and furious that I proved he actually is about to have 7 kids, instead of 5, that I'm going to be taking half his business away from him. My husband started his own HVAC company a few years back, and for the first 5 years, I helped him get it set up, ran the office completely, and took time away from my teaching career to help him get this established. In my state, all marital assets, including businesses, are split 50-50. Since the house was still in my father's name, my husband will get no money from the sale, nor will my mother, since inherited assets are not subject to be split in divorces. My mother is also likely to not get any alimony, as our state is not a no-fault divorce state. I'm now over a month removed, still extremely bitter and angry at my mother, especially at her hypocrisy of calling me a whore and shaming my family, when she's done much worse. I also despise my ex with everything within me now, as he was ducking both my mom and me, in some instances coming to our bed minutes later. He got my mother pregnant less than a week after getting me pregnant, and while I thought it was so cute and fun that I shared a pregnancy experience with my mom, she was carrying my children's half-siblings. He has broken all trust I had in men and being faithful. I have already procured a good lawyer from the firm that helped us in financial matters for both me and my dad is helping pay for it. My twin brothers, one of my sisters, and my entire ex's family have gone no contact with me and my minor children, and my children have essentially lost all of their grandparents but my dad, 2 uncles, and an aunt on my side, and my husband's 3 brothers, due to this mess. I've also developed ulcers and digestive issues because of this, so I'm visiting the doctor soon, and I've been in therapy since the first week of January. I've offered this for my 2 adult children if they need family therapy with all of us, but they're doing individual therapy right now. My 14-year-old knows that we're getting divorced and why, and she's so angry at her dad that I struggle sending her to his house on the weekends. I feel like she's old enough to make a decision on that, but I don't want to damage her relationship with her dad. I've told all my kids it's okay to love their dad, even if he hurt me, but the oldest 2 have cut him off 100%. I won't tell my youngest 2 until their teens why we got divorced, and everyone else has agreed to not spill anything until they're old enough to understand. As for how I had no idea this affair was ongoing, my husband confirmed to me that they would have sex at my mom's office, at church, in their cars, at a motel, and when we built the business, they started having it routinely in his office, once I went back to teaching. They also had it in our houses too when my father would go away on business trips or I'd be out of town. It was pure happenstance that I came home a day early from a trip, because I was uncomfortable from being nearly 7 months pregnant and just wanted my own bed, for me to find out. Knowing they'd be carrying on this full-blown affair still if I hadn't caught them is what I'm still upset about. The fact that the grandmother and father of my children cared so little about destroying our families is what I can't get past. What's hardest for me is that my own mother would do this to me and would continue to do this for years, and not caring when it all blew up in her face that she would be destroying her entire family. Edit. Also, to add insult to injury, my husband confirmed in one of our mediated conversations the affair started when I apparently made him angry. He didn't tell me and instead vented to my mom when they were alone. She comforted him and they had sex. He loved it and then pursued her after that. He said he would have divorced me, but knew he'd get cut off from her and she was so much better at sex than me, so stuck it out with me. He told me I was a placeholder. Of all the betrayal and low blows, that statement is what keeps me up at night. TLDR. My mom ducked my husband for 22 years, got pregnant with twins, continued the affair until I caught them in bed together on New Year's Eve while I was nearly 7 months pregnant. I publicly exposed it and my mom lost her job, her marriage, and is homeless. Good on you for not literally stabbing your husband. I wouldn't be as strong. My pregnancy is the only reason I didn't end up in jail. Just in case you haven't yet, I'd recommend you seriously consider getting a doula for the birth. With all of this loss, it can really be helpful to have someone there with you during labor who has no connection to any of this but who is still 100% invested in your mental and emotional well-being. It might seem counterintuitive, but having a stranger there to give you that loving and constant support can be incredibly healing. My husband wasn't able to be there during my labor for his own health reasons, and having a doula really helped to relieve my stress and made a huge difference. I know you're an experienced mom at this point, but it isn't just about that. Lots of love to you. This is really good advice. Even if it's just to have someone there to keep the drama away from you while you're in labor. Anyone in the family, and friends, has too many emotions invested, and delivery is already a highly stressful and emotional experience without all the added drama. You may have to interview quite a few doulas to find the right one for this unique situation, but it really would help. You're a better woman than I am, that's for sure. Girl, you are stronger than I am. I probably would have seen rage and kicked the shit out of both of them. Like, he was doing your mom for 22 years, then has the absolute nerve to accuse you of cheating? Maybe your now ex-husband should stop shopping at the Audacity store. I feel for you so much it hurts. Please don't let go of that strength. You've been through so much, 2 people already ruined their lives and possibly scarred your children so much. Don't let them ruin yours too. It's not destroyed until you welcome it. Please be safe XOXO. Make plans for security when you give birth as well. I don't know if your lawyer can help, but the hospital definitely can if given notice about it. You need the birth process as peaceful as possible, and these narcissists will make it all about themselves if they know you're in active labor at the hospital, and which one. Update: I tried hard to go the route of a mediated divorce, but my ex told me yesterday through his lawyers that he doesn't believe that the baby I'm carrying is his and he wants a DNA test as soon as he's born because he doesn't want to support a child that isn't his. He also believes I routinely cheated on him through our marriage and that I knew about his ongoing affair and used that as my excuse to have my own affairs. None of that is true, but I kind of wish it was because it would make the divorce easier. My lawyer basically told me to get ready for a long, drawn-out, brutal contested divorce and that my ex is likely going to try every underhanded tactic in the book to make my life even more miserable. Talk about projection, my scum of a father also used this tactic on my mom. He's the one who cheated repeatedly and when caught red-handed, tried to frame my mom as the cheater. I cheated because you cheated first and you were never a good wife to me. Bitch, she was busy trying to put food on the table, working her ass off to feed the whole family, and even when she worked she would bring me and my siblings to her office because no one would help her babysit us. She doesn't have time to cheat. Good thing my maternal uncles rushed to our house after the news and beat the shit out of my scummy dad. Smile. I pray that you win in life and endless downfall on your shithead husband and whore mom. Pardon my language here, she is one frown. He's going to get so ducked in court. There's no way he's going to come out of this on good terms. No possible way. Sue just so you can depose him and ask all kinds of questions. Yes, God, yes. If this is actually true and not just made up for Reddit clicks, there are some real weirdos out there. Honey, when you said that he called you a placeholder, I knew that he was bitter. None of that. The placeholder comment, his alleged reasons for staying with you, etc., is actually true. He knows damned well that you weren't having affairs and that your unborn child is his. He is just angry, bitter, and wanting to hurt you in any way he can. He realizes that he ducked up his own life with his stupid choices, and he is blaming you to cover up his own self-loathing. I know it sounds impossible now, but rise above his BS. Keep going to counseling. Keep working on yourself and your feelings. You are strong, you are beautiful, and you are an amazing woman. He knows exactly what he's lost, and that is why he is angry. Sending you virtual hugs. FAQ/update: this has gone viral on Twitter and thanks to the people who let me know in DMs. So I will answer some questions posed both here and there. My twin brothers look like my egg donors side of the family. They look very close to my uncle and grandfather. They clearly don't look like my dad at all, but they also don't resemble my husband much either. My son looks my STBX and he's the only child that you can visibly tell is his kid, although my 14F daughter has his nose and jaw shape. I was definitely enraged the day everything went down, but my dad talked me off the murder ledge and reminded me that I needed to think of my baby and my other kids before I do something that would remove both of their parents from their lives. That is what spared them. I still lived in a rage fog for the next few days, which is what led to the revenge party. I only regret not telling my brothers privately that my egg donor had been cheating. I honestly don't know all the reasons my 38F sister is on my egg donor's side. She doesn't get along with me or my sisters and hasn't since high school. I'm not that worried about her. My twin brothers are upset that I sprung the news publicly. That is what my dad has gotten out of them. They are also in therapy and my dad has told me to just give them time. He thinks it's just them killing the messenger. I did not tell them the possibility that my ex was their dad, but they can do math and figured out that they're the same age as my son and he's younger than the length of the affair. My dad sat them down and explained his reasoning for the DNA test was to prove cheating and not because he was going to abandon them. He is their dad regardless of whose sperm fertilized the egg. I don't believe that my egg donor and SDBX waited until he was 18 to have sex, but at this point I'm letting my dad fight that fight and letting him do what he needs to when dealing with her and their divorce. I have contingency plans ready to enact in the event they decide to move in together, but my lawyer doesn't believe my ex is stupid enough to do that with the divorce proceedings turning ugly. I forgot to add this in earlier, my husband is 4 months younger than me. My birthday is in December and his is April. He will be 40 soon. We were in the same graduating class all through school from kindergarten through high school. He's not a full year younger than me as others have speculated. I'm focusing on my pregnancy, my kids, and moving on. I may provide an update after divorces are finalized, but thanks to everyone for the support and advice. Thanks for letting this hormonal, sad, ragey, bitter woman vent and get this off her chest. Update 3, I had a phone conversation with my aunt today, my egg donor's sister, and she told me there is a family history of cheating in our family on their side of the family. My grandma cheated on my grandpa for years but they reconciled. My aunt herself had multiple emotional affairs but is still married to my uncle. She tried blaming genetics on my mom's affair. I laughed out loud at the absurdity of that attempt to justify her affair and my aunt is now mad at me for not hearing my egg donor out and her explanations for cheating. My dad and lawyer both say I should hear her out, so I'm still considering doing it right before we meet in early March to establish custody. Edit, I should mention that I asked my aunt if my mom inherited the whore gene, which child did she pass it on to and how did my grandma manage to pass it on to both her daughters. So that's probably why she's mad in retrospect. I've honestly lost all sympathy for cheaters after this. Update to my OG post. I apparently am banned from making new posts on True Off My Chest, so here is the latest update to anyone who is following me. Update to this post. I tried updating this on that post but it won't let me add another edit. So here's the latest happenings. Update recaps, my ex accused me of also being unfaithful because he was and wants a DNA test when our son is born. My aunt exposed multiple affairs in my egg donor's side of the family and tried to claim it's genetic and hereditary. My dad and I's lawyers encouraged us to meet with my egg donor for evidence and for closure, and this update deals with the answers we were given about her choices when we did meet. I met with my egg donor, dad, and our lawyers last evening. Essentially my egg donor said she knew it was wrong but enjoyed the attention, the sex was great and she enjoyed the thrill of it. She kept sleeping with my dad because she enjoyed their financial stability and carefree life and wanted to stay married. She purposely slept with him after each sexual encounter with my ex to ensure if she got pregnant she could pass the child off. She also admitted to enjoying the knowledge that my ex enjoyed sex with her more than me. She then said that she is moving in with my ex to his new place and that she invited the boys to live with them. The twins have visited once since the affair went public and told her they don't like my ex and refuse to treat him like he's their father. She said eventually they'll come around once she's married to my ex and then she'll have her family back. I laughed out loud and told her she was delusional and needed psychiatric help. Then I told her I would be taking out an order of protection against her so she'd have no access to my minor children. She called me a jealous and ungrateful cow for not appreciating that she didn't abort me and let me live. She said I should be happy that they didn't kick me out when I came home knocked up. She even had the nerve to say I should be thankful she kept my husband happy when I couldn't, so he didn't divorce me and leave me a broken and damaged single mother. She then told my dad she suffered from postpartum depression after my birth and my dad ignored it and made her feel alone, so she felt justified in hating me and to have affairs. She admitted to having multiple affairs from 6 months after I was born until New Year's Eve and said she'd still be doing it if I hadn't ruined everything. So, my 38F sister and 34F sister may not be my dad's either. My dad is even more heartbroken and angry, but we did have both our lawyers present and we got it on record. My dad has already reached out to my siblings, but to nobody's surprise I guess my 38F sister already knew it was a possibility because my mom told her about both affairs when the twins were born and she knew they might not be my dad's and kept it from us. My dad is devastated by that even more than losing his relationship with my mom. I'm not sure their relationship will ever recover. I genuinely have no clue what is wrong with my 38F sister. My 34F sister doesn't want a paternity test and said our dad will always be her dad. My dad is fine with that. I sent a message to my ex through my lawyer that I will be filing an order of protection tomorrow so that my kids won't have to go to my ex's house if my mother is there. Neither one has even attempted to find new housing either, so I guess she's planning to move into my ex-in-law's house. I really don't want my kids around that mess. He has yet to respond, but at this point I really don't care what he wants. P.S. My family knows about the social media posts as do the lawyers, but my ex and egg donor have zero chance of a good outcome in the divorce, so I'm going to be petty and enjoy their anger about being exposed, so I'm leaving it up. They can stew in their filth and know that not only does our town think they're terrible, so does the world. And I have permission from my younger sister to share what happened last night. I don't really care what my 38F sister thinks. TL, doctor, there were more affairs. My mom blames my dad for her pregnancy experience with me and she hates me because she had postpartum depression during pregnancy, and my 38F sister knew about the affairs and never told us. My mom wants to move in with my ex and take the twins with her to start a new family. I'm taking out an order of protection against her so she can't be around my minor kids. That's so messed up. I do have one question though. Did your sister know egg donor was cheating with your husband specifically, or did she just know egg donor was cheating with someone? She knew it was my husband and didn't tell me or my dad, which is why my dad is so upset with her. How cruel of her. I'm so sorry you're going through all of this. I wish you and your kids the best. How is the pregnancy going with all this stress? I'm okay, fully at my dad's now, and my 42F sister is helping us out along with my 34F sister. My 18 brother had also begun speaking to me again and he's been great about helping me out with my 5F daughter. Was struggling for a bit with anxiety and elevated blood pressure, but I've been getting routine massages and therapy has helped a lot. I've begun doing teletherapy so I don't have to leave the house. Please take care of yourself. I've never been through something like you're dealing with now, but I have been through painful situations where I was betrayed by family. If you ever need to talk, vent, or a distraction, feel free to send me a message. How far along are you now? I know one of your posts said around 28 weeks. I'm almost 32 weeks. Just about 8 weeks left. You're strong. I have faith in you. I'm glad you're doing therapy. You deserve plenty of support. Have you had blood pressure issues during your other pregnancies? I hope your therapist has given you some helpful coping skills. If you need more suggestions, feel free to ask. I am so sorry all of this happened to you and so many people straight up betrayed you and stabbed you in the back. Your egg donor does truly sound delusional. There might be some severe mental health issues going on there. Not that it excuses anything, but it might be an explanation. I'm just so sorry for you and your entire innocent family that was ducked up because of their actions. I hope your siblings and kids are doing good considering the circumstances. Love, I'm really sorry this has happened to you. I was just wondering, has your ex's family reached out to you? I can't believe that his parents would just cut you off and cut their grandkids off like that's horrible. Have his siblings reached out to you and offered help or condolences? I'm guessing your 38F sister has serious issues with you. She found it satisfying knowing that you had no clue. She's taking your mom's side because the part of the brain that doesn't act on ideas that are morally wrong is damaged, just like her pa's mother. If sister has kids, they should all get paternity tests. She's literally just as batshit as egg donor. What the duck? I'm so sorry this happened, and even though it sucks, I'm glad you found out. I only wish it had been earlier. Your mother is vile, as well as that scum-sucking sorry excuse for a little bitch your ex. I admire your strength. Edit, and duck your sister, she deserves all of the worst in the world. How are your twin brothers coping with this? Are they still refusing to talk to you? I think you answered your own question of who got the whore gene. Man, so your dad basically had only you as his actual child. Unreal levels of ducked up. I'd have hired a hitman by now, holy shit. How you are powering through this, but kudos to you and your dad for being so strong. Move to the Netherlands or something. Get away from all this drama. My older sister is his too, as is the youngest son, confirmed. All the affair insanity aside, she wants to take the twins and start a new life, leaving her youngest behind because he's biologically your father's. Jesus, what an insufferable cunt. I'd be curious to know what your relationship with her had been like prior to this shit coming to light. Was she always a terrible mother? Well, that's good. I can't imagine having your heart ripped out and stomped on like that. I need an investigation board with everyone on it and some lines drawn to keep this all straight. My best wishes to you and yours. Take them for all they are worth. They are scum, not even good enough to lick the dog shit off a beggar's boot. Your dad sounds amazing. He still loves all of his kids, regardless of DNA. There are too many stories where kids in these situations are abandoned when they had no control over the situation. That woman is just filled with hate and evil. It's amazing how she managed to conceal it for so long. You are so much better away from those creatures. I bet 38F already knows who her sperm donor is, and it's not your dad. All the best for the order of protection. Your younger ones don't need to be around that filth either. You are an amazing woman. You know you have been a faithful and loving partner, and any DNA test will reveal all of your babies have the same worthless sperm donor. Their goodness comes from you. Big hugs, hugging face. If genetics is in the play, then it's even more damaging. Your mother's family is actively ruining relationships for generations, according to your aunt. Next time she tries to make you feel bad, explain to her this is what her genetics explanation means in reality. Are you even your father's kid? She seems to have lost it long ago. I actually do believe her when she says she started having affairs after I was born, plus I look like the female version of my dad and a lot like his mom. I just said that because at this point, what to believe? Hope this ends soon for you and you can start your new life. Same for your dad. It's sad that in your family only a few seem to have matured and know what is right and wrong. And actually do the right thing. My 42 sister, me, and my 34 sister are talking daily about this, and we've started making fun of the egg donor. Egg donor sends my 42 sister rambling voicemails, guilt-tripping her into letting her see her grandbabies since she didn't do anything to my sister personally in this ongoing unfortunate incident. I told my sister not to block her because we get a kick out of listening to the voicemails on speakerphone and making fun of her. She is 60 and not owning her mistakes. Is your ex really going to take care of a 60 years old because sex is good? No matter how healthy one life's age takes its toll. Your mother's grasping at anything right now to make herself feel better. So glad you have your father and sisters surrounding you. Truly, you are all in this together. Wishing you all the best and hugs. Final update. Hello, thank you to everyone who has sent me chats/messages supporting me and asking how I'm doing. I do have an update. OG post here. I gave birth to my son in the beginning of April. He is healthy and I had no health complications. At the end of March I was able to get temporary full physical and legal custody of my kids. My 14-year-old daughter asked me if I'd be willing to do family therapy with her and her dad. I did not want to do it. I fought it, but eventually I chose to do so for the sake of my daughter and her need to process everything and hopefully move on. I learned a lot more about the relationship between my ex and my egg donor due to homework the therapist gave us. My ex did reveal more things which I believe to be true. My mom had actually tried to seduce him well before we were of age. From my ex's recollection, when my egg donor took over the youth group, I was 15 and he was a few months from turning 15. The grooming began then. She'd counsel him privately because he needed it. They kissed at some point when he was still 14 and that was all they did, meaning they'd make out during these sessions, until he turned 18. It was right around the time of the first kiss that my mom convinced him to ask me out and date me so they could keep seeing each other without suspicion. At this revelation, I was both devastated. My entire relationship was built on a lie and my husband never loved me, and also a sense of relief knowing that I had absolutely nothing to do with their affair. The reason I believe this is true is that when he asked me out, I had to get permission from my parents to date. At the time the rule was no one could date before age 16. My mom went to bat for me, or so I thought. We started dating right after he turned 15. The timeline adds up. Edited. My dad is currently looking into potential other cases of abuse and manipulation right now with the help of the church officials. Nothing has turned up, and truthfully, while I hate my egg donor, I find it hard to believe she'd have the stamina to carry on multiple affairs with other boys. I think she seduced him knowing I liked him and wanted to feel superiority over me. Looking back, all of this makes sense. Her treatment of me, and my children in relationship to her other grandkids. I think all of this was a seriously ducked up case of her being narcissistic and punishing me for ruining her life. They did not have full sex until he turned 18, and I guess that was his birthday present from her. My 22F and 20M children are still not speaking to him, which he has come to grips with and understands they'll likely never re-establish contact with him. The twins and I have reconciled fully. Now for the egg donor. After the last phone call with my aunt, I cut off contact with her and my grandmother. I was tired of my aunt trying to guilt trip me into talking to my egg donor. My grandma is a whole other problem and is beginning to show signs of dementia and senility. She is still harassing my egg donor and calling her a whore of Babylon, which I'm okay with, but the other stuff she's doing and saying is not something I want to add to my life of stress. My 34F and 42F sisters were the ones who helped me with the labor and delivery plan. My ex knew what the plans were, but also that I did not want him at the hospital until I had already given birth and was in a better place for him to meet his son. He agreed to this. The day I went into labor, my 34F sister took my 14F and 5F children to her home while my 42F sister was with me in the room. Apparently, my 14F child needed something from the school and reached out to my ex to pick it up as he was still on the official pickup list. He no longer is, and drop it off at my sister's house. My egg donor was with him when he took the call. He refused to let her come along as I did not want my children around my egg donor. She apparently followed him in her car to the store and then my sister's house and threw a temper tantrum on the front lawn of my sister's house. My ex broke up with her and told her she was too much drama and it just wasn't worth it anymore, and she flew into a rage and physically attacked him and started destroying things in my sister's yard. The cops were called. My egg donor was arrested for domestic violence. At that point my ex, my sister, and I all took out orders of protection against her due to the instability and the situation. My ex moved into an apartment close to the HVAC company. My 14-year-old daughter has decided not to forgive him and told him that she didn't want to be around him currently, so only the 5-year-old visits my ex. He comes to my dad's house and visits her one weeknight and one weekend evening, when I take my other kids and twin brothers out for dinner. We've established contact through a custody app and we'll be revisiting the custody issue in June. I will be pursuing full legal and physical custody until my ex can prove to me he's done the necessary therapy and treatment he needs. I still hate my ex with everything he did to me from the time I was 15 until recently, but I hate my egg donor far more for what she did to us all. I do have some sympathy for him and I truly want him to be okay for the sake of my younger kids. Edited, yes, he has met his newborn son. He met him the night I gave birth. I also allowed his in-laws and brothers to meet him as well. His in-laws and I are currently setting up plans for the 14 and 5-year-old to have time with them as well as times they can come visit my newborn. My ex is allowed supervised visitation at this point, not a court-ordered visitation, but my wishes which he is adhering to as he does his therapy and rehab, and he gets regular time with the 5-year-old. He does get access to our newborn at least once a week, if he comes with his parents, if he wishes. He's seen his son at least 6 times since I gave birth and 3 in my presence. We're slowly rebuilding civilized communication. As for the other divorce proceedings, he's agreed to a mediated uncontested divorce and I'll be getting half of everything, including the business. I'm choosing to sell my shares to one of my ex's workers who'd like to become a partner. The ex is happy with this and I'll be happy to be completely rid of any ties to my ex. My dad was able to sell my old house. It didn't even get listed as our realtor knew a family looking and I have begun looking for houses about 45 minutes away from my dad. As for the egg donor, she has gone into hiding. Once the twins told her unequivocally they'd never live with her and that they wanted nothing to do with her, especially after how she got arrested, she began a whole lot of guilt tripping and blaming them. She is now contesting the divorce from my dad and only speaking to him through her lawyer. As for my 38F sister, she got a wake-up call from this whole thing when my mother called her and berated her for 45 minutes for not bailing her out of jail. Apparently, my 38F sister has been going through fertility issues. Like I said, I don't talk to her and had no idea, and she's been stressed out and anxious and feeling bad about herself, which is why she let our egg donor manipulate her because she felt good about herself when she was getting all the positive attention. When she wasn't willing to pay the money to bail her out as she and her partner were saving up for another cycle of IVF, she realized that she was being manipulated and reached out to me. We have begun slowly talking again, but she is on my side regarding this all. She is also talking to my dad again, which for his sake, I'm happy that he is able to reconnect with her. Having my son, BTW, we did the DNA test a few weeks before his birth. He is definitely my ex's, has been a pleasure and joy, and he and my other kids and my support system of my dad and siblings has gotten me through this and will continue to do so. I am hopeful that at some point I will be able to deal with my ex without anger and bitterness, seeing as he has trauma from what my egg donor did to him. I'll be okay. Like I said, this will be my last update on this. So thank you for all the kindness, love, and support. Congratulations on the healthy arrival of your son Op. I wish you and your family the very best. Congrats Op. Your ex-husband is trash for continuing the relationship with her all of these years, while staying in a relationship with you knowing that it was all a lie. But I am not surprised that he was groomed. I would also not be surprised if she did indeed do this to other men as well, so I hope the church investigation takes this seriously and doesn't rug sweep anything. As for you, just focus on yourself, your kids and your family and friends that you know you can rely upon. Your ex will either get his stuff together or won't. But that's not your problem anymore. Your egg donor needs to just go away and never come back. I also hope your dad gets everything in the divorce. If the investigation that the church is conducting does indeed find out that she was grooming other men when they were underage, I hope she can go to jail for that. Congratulations. I hope you and your kids end up having a happy and stable life. I feel bad for your ex because he was manipulated and groomed. I hope with therapy and rehab he can see with clarity what happened and how messed up it was. I hope your 38F sister finds peace and a healthy baby. I hope for justice for your ex and you brought about by your egg donor. What's going on with your egg donor's church? Like, shouldn't the police be involved, similarly to the Catholic priest's scandal? Is your ex going to sue them for what happened to him when in their care at age 14? Your egg donor should be in jail for the rest of her life. Police have been given a heads up as far as I know. I have nothing to do with the investigation. That's all my dad. WTF did I just read? WTF, what is the actual fucktonomy? Op, you are a much stronger person than I am. I would have gone batshit insane at this. I wish I can say something else but WTF. Stay strong, and I wish you all the best. I wonder how pissed your in-laws are though. Their son had been groomed by this bitch since he was 14. I would be obscenely angry to find out about this massive breach of trust. I'm so happy that your baby is healthy and that you are the twins that rebuilt your relationship. Also happy that 38F is screwing her head on. Overall, I'm happy things are getting better for you. And I commend you and for your strength throughout all of this duckery. I know you said it's for the kids and because of the pregnancy, but you not snapping one of their necks during this whole process is the most shocking part of this story. Egg donor can rot in hell. Contest the divorce with what exactly? Lol, didn't the last time you all talk with the lawyers she admitted to about 40 years of cheating? Yeah, okay lady, sure. Honestly, she probably disappeared because she has no leg to stand on and she knows it. She also could be under legal investigation, which I feel y'all should try and see if you could, because knowing what she did with X and her being the youth leader, there could be more victims and that's more horrific than anything that there could be more. X needs more therapy. I sympathize with him being groomed. 14 is so young, and during those years it's easy to manipulate into thinking that egg donor actions are right. I don't know if he will explain things to the family that was taking egg donor, and his side in the original story will see that she was in the wrong, but he also doesn't have to explain anything if it helps him heal. He's still at fault, but you found the unfortunate motive behind the actions. I hope he heals and moves on. I also sympathize with your kids and your younger siblings not having a stable familial unit, and that things are broken all because of egg donor. The 18M brother, 20M twins, your 20M and your 22F are still in the age of college. 18 meters could still be in high school too, and this could have affected grades if they were/are attending college. The 14F could be having trouble with school as well, and having household issues is a common cause of grades changing. So make sure that they know that it's okay if grades drop, or if someone loses a scholarship, or even full-on dropout because of family stress and school stress. They are going to need someone strong while everything else is crumbling. Also, for the rest of them family, this could have affected work life because home life is going haywire. Talk about therapy with your older siblings and with your dad. I don't remember if he started therapy. See if one day y'all can have a family trip to get away from the hometown and get some good experiences after having this whirlwind ride. Most importantly, take care of yourself. You got a newborn and you're still healing from not only finding this stuff out but also giving birth. Take time to be you and rest. Take care, honey. You are a true descendant of the Amazon warriors. You are a queen and you are a role model. I wish more women who have gone through absolute nightmare situations and handled them with similar levels of grace and dignity would step up and share their journeys to show women facing crises how it can be done. How you can survive a nightmare, save yourself, and save your family by relying on strength, composure, and support. Yes, of course you had moments, perhaps days, perhaps weeks. You saw those moments through and came back out on the other side with grace and dignity. You've shared how important the role of support is and how one benefits thoroughly from the support from the significant people in their lives. Note to family and dear friends, be that support. Don't judge, don't stay out of it. Support your friend and see them through. Thank you, Op, for sharing and for being a shining star. I wish you and your family continued healing and many lights at the many ends of the tunnels. What a vile woman. I'm so grateful you found out about that whole mess. What a terrible thing to have to go through. So many people were involved. I don't hate many people, but I think I'll add your egg donor to that list. I almost feel bad for your ex. She really ducked both of your lives up. Now your kids have uncle brothers. And she enjoyed it all. I wish you, your dad, and all the kids involved nothing but the best. I hope one day y'all can heal from this. I'm happy for you that you're starting to reconcile with your sister. Sounds like your mom did a doozy on everyone in her life. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please comment, like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a wonderful day or night, wherever you are.